Self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello. This is QED DeNile here, and I've come with bearing the gift of Week 5 of the Southeast Asia Clan League, Cottonmouth, QED Cottonmouth, the Terran, versus Arnor from Zerocraft, quite a famous member of the Starcraft 2 Southeast Asia forums. We have Arnor here, spawning in the bottom, and QED Cottonmouth spawning at the top. So I'll head into what should be an interesting game here. It's being played on a very wide, very open map. It's the Antiga map. It's a WCG Antiga map, I believe. So it looks slightly different tile set, but generally the same map. I don't believe there's golds on those. So there's no golds on this either. So it's a map without the golds. So open up with a supply from both. Pretty standard as it stands. Cottonmouth has been showing a lot of improvement lately in his team. Arnor himself just recently promoted to gold. That was a big step up for him. So he must be quite happy with that. He's heading out the pretty early scout here, scouting straight after the supply depot. Most don't scout after the barracks. It's a very early scout from Arnor. So interesting to see what he plans on doing with that, whether he just wants early information, whether he's looking to proxy something. Well, he's not going to proxy anything too much. The barracks being built here, but maybe, I don't know, it just seems like a very early scout from Arnor. Just likes to know a lot of information. But again, stand opening from both, even gas going down at the same, pretty much identical time here. So the only difference so far in their builds is that Arnor has sent his SCV out for a much earlier scout, as we see him coming up here now. And he won't even get in, so it's going to be a wasted scout from Arnor here. The supply depot going out just in time to prevent that from him getting in. He still hasn't got a supply depot down here either. Where has he built the supply depot here? Not quite sure. He hasn't got his down here yet. Mining, he's got the 3 on gas, so he's mining full gas. And he's got 3 on gas as well, so it's all pretty standard at the moment. Now, Cottonmouth sending off his scout now, lifting up the supply depot, very, very wise of him. Sending out his scout now, he knows he's not going to get in there with this much time frame between it. Arnor is already jumping to an orbital command, so he's got the lead on Cottonmouth in that sense. I guess the delay on the supply depot meant he could get his orbital command slightly earlier, but also denied him having any form of scouting information. We see that there is a tech lab coming up, so possibly Marauders or even Hellions. Who are going for an early Hellions here, or even Hellions, who must be really, really weird. You could go Hellions off of this. And stanza, supply depot here from Cottonmouth going in this little shady bit here. It's kind of handy to spot drops, particularly in these lower leagues where you know it's a bit hard to task and cover everything. So Cotton's got a nice little supply depot here to scout for things. Cotton hasn't scouted the right direction first. Obviously, being a delayed scout as well, it means he won't get here until well and truly it's underway. He will see the tech lab though when he gets up here, because this marine is too far away to stop this. Depends where he scouts next though. It looks like he might be going, he's going to wait in the middle now. He's not even going to scout anywhere else. So Cottonmouth's pretty certain that he's down the bottom right here, I think. Pretty standard though. Marine stim is already going up for Arnor, so it's going to be a stim timing of some description. Factory coming up for Cottonmouth. Possibly to move into Banshees, into... Oh no, he's got the tech lab going straight down, so if he starts Starport, he'll be going into Banshees or something, but it stands he might be going straight to Marine tank timing. He's now scouted, so he knows definitely that Arnor is in the bottom now. He's scouted every location but there. Not much else happening different here now. They're both kind of building up a bit of forces here. No one's gone for any kind of expansion. No one's dropped an early command center. They're both happy to stay on one base at the moment. Got a reactor going down now, so it's going to be Marines and Marauders. It's going to be very bio-heavy. For Arnor, he's going for a bio-style play. He's got a little barracks in at the back here with another tech lab. So if a scan goes down, say at the front of the base, it won't see this barracks at the back, and if a scan goes down here, that will see it. So it's got a little hidden at the back. Siege mode already being researched for Cottonmouth, which is a wise move. Siege tanks are always handy in these TVT matchups, and the starport is going down as well. So pretty heavy investment here, both on one base still at the moment. It's keeping pretty even on one base, not much happening. Supply slightly ahead for Arnor at the moment. He's kept up SCV production slightly better than Cottonmouth, and that's really the only difference at the moment. A bit more tech though for Cottonmouth over Arnor, but less upgrades, as Arnor already has stim nearly done and concussive shell as well. I mean, you could do a pretty forceful push, but this push would probably be stopped by the fact that just one siege tank can just siege up on the high ground and defend it well, prevent any chance of that causing any damage. He's got another barracks coming out as well. Got Vikings coming out. So he's going for a pretty weird style here, Cottonmouth, getting Vikings out already when he's got no real scouting information. Little Bioforce now from Arnor coming out, probably to knock on the door and see what he can do. He's got this Viking going out here for a scout of some description maybe, to check for drops. Not quite 100% sure what their Viking's doing. Obviously might be waiting for banshees or drops. Supply we're going for Cottonmouth, possibly going to expand out here and do a bit of a ninja expand into one of the spots here. It's quite a nice force coming out here from Arnor. Quite large, quite dangerous. Interesting to see how this gets dealt with by Cottonmouth. He has got a siege tank though. He's got 2 siege tanks up, which will prevent any kind of major damage being caused by that run-up. Siege tank here could probably move a bit closer to the edge to, hit these units so they could do less damage to the barracks and the supply depots. But he has got them up, and a medivac now as well to heal his units. So he's definitely got the tech advantage here in this matchup. The scan has gone up. Oh, bad timing there. He's dropped the siege tank just at the wrong time, but there is another siege tank backing up. This will prevent this drop from Arnor doing this push from Arnor doing any damage whatsoever. He's going to fall back now. He's lost pretty much all of those units. The siege tanks did a lot of damage. He did manage to snipe down one of the siege tanks though, so maybe it was a fair trade. The scan, he pushed a bit strong there though. I think he forgot that there was another unit here. Arnor's misrallying here some units. He's left them too close to the edge here. The medivac here giving sight, just destroying those marines and marauders he's left at the front of the base. He's continuing his push though. He's getting a bit lax though. He's left some units floating around in bad positions, but I believe he's got his units still rallied across the map. Not the wise decision from one of those, but he has dropped the expansion down. Cottonmouth might look at pushing this away soon so he can drop his own expansion down eventually. Another misrallied marine there again. Medivac's being filled up for a drop. Not sure what happened to that Viking. There it is in the middle of the map here, giving some kind of line of sight. So a drop now coming from Cottonmouth, heading off. So we can cause some damage. He's got some idle SCVs as well he needs to look after. They could be mining, they could be doing anything. He's setting them off and he hasn't shift clicked them back after building the supply depots. So he needs to get those back working. So he got Miss Rally from Arnor, has left his units right at the back here in case, obviously maybe that's just to see if the expansion goes down. But he's managed to rally the rest of his units back here. He's got bunker up. He hasn't dropped a factory as yet, but he's got an engineering bay down. I wouldn't mind seeing a factory so he can get Starport out and get some medivacs out to help heal these units. The drop here is slowed down by Cottonmouth. He's kind of left it floating idle for a while. He's got a lot of units here, so the drop wouldn't be so effective up here. It could be effective if he came in, swung in the other way and dropped like around this area. Could shoot a lot of SCVs that way, take him out with a quick stim, but he hasn't got a stim. That's another problem with Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth has yet to get stim, which will definitely prevent any drop causing a lot of damage. One expansion was cancelled by Arnor's little pack of elite units there in the corner. They're pretty low in health and they're not going to last much longer. And they'll fall pretty quickly to this marine force here. Marine medivac. Stim would be handy though. He's getting +1. I'll actually get his +1 before Arnor, but it's not going to help him much without Stim. He's dropping his expansion now. This drop here is coming up. It's even got a tank in this drop. Now I didn't see that originally, but a tank is going to cause a lot of damage in this drop. As Arnor is going to have to stim right into that tank to cause any kind of damage. And here he comes now. He's going to stim in. The tank is falling quick, but it will die, and it will take a fair bit of damage with it as well. So that was definitely a dangerous moment there for Arnor. A tank drop in that corner was very effective. It took out a fair few units. He probably could have lifted up and moved the tank with that medivac and saved it, but unfortunately he didn't. So it was slightly unfortunate. It was a nice little elevator trick though to get that tank up there. The front is pretty well defended. And Arnor now is covering his bases with a lot of missile turrets. He obviously doesn't want another drop anytime soon. He's got that factory down. Still got that starport down though, but he's got that factory. Hopefully the starport will be building soon so he can get his own medivacs out. Stim's useful, but not unless you have medivacs to heal the units. So that kind of negates the bonus that Arnor's getting at the moment from having Stim available. His expansion has been up and running a lot longer than Cottonmouth though, so his income is a lot better. He needs to make advantage of that though and start producing a lot more units and get out there and cause some damage, maybe do some harass back. Another medivac here from Cottonmouth. More barracks. They both have some decent infrastructure. He's left one tank behind here. Obviously himself worried about the odd drop. He's getting more Vikings again. I'm not really 100% sure why he's getting so many Vikings. Maybe he's worried of his own drops being used against him. But seems to be a lot of Vikings, and he was in the base there and didn't see any medivacs and didn't see anything else in return. So Starport is just going up now by Arnor, so unless he's just using those Vikings to prevent drops in the future. I'm not sure why he's got him. An armory going down as well. So Arnor's investing heavily in tech now. He's got his 2 bases up fully running. He's getting all that infrastructure down. He was slightly behind him before, and even exceeding what Cottonmouth has got in infrastructure. As we see here, Cottonmouth is yet to get himself any form of engineering bay. He has got himself 2 factories though. The second one getting a tech lab as well, so we had to mass produce siege tanks, but he's not even producing out of the first one, so I'm not 100% sure why he'd be getting a second one, unless he just wants to be able to restore quick. He's got a lot of siege tanks so defending his front, so fronts can be hard to push into if Arnor decides to try, particularly if an MM ball this big. Wouldn't mind seeing some of the forge going down for Cottonmouth though, so he can get some upgrades. He's got a sensor tower going down, which will give him some nice view of the area in front of him, let him know what's coming and when it's coming, and give him time to defend. He's got the engineering bay up, and got plus level. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Level 1 armor coming up now for his units, but still no stim, which is really disappointing, as stim would come in very handy. All combat shields. Simply built another barracks here. He's got a reactor on it again. He's got a tech lab over here. He has got combat shields coming, so he's just about done, but no stim yet. I don't know if it's just a personal style of his play. He's not very good with the stim, so he's avoiding it, and he's sticking to using mass marines and upgrades. I understand if he's a bit lower than stim, but even 1 stim can save your day. You saw Arnor's stim there, took out that siege tank a lot quicker than if he hadn't, and he would have lost all those marines for the siege tank if he hadn't stim, so it does come in handy. It is probably one of the most powerful moves the marines have, because stim pretty much doubles their effectiveness, as long as you have a medivac, and he's got his medivac count nice. He's got some Vikings too. Again, I'm not 100% sure why the Vikings. Yes, he's worried about a drop, maybe to snipe out medivacs with opponent. Arnor here has switched into Marine Marauder tank force. So he's given up on just having a pure Bioball force here, and has switched back to Marine, Marauder and Tank, with a couple of medivacs now to support. So the forces are getting pretty even now. Arnor has got a large supply count, which is mostly in his Marines and Marauders, as he has a lot more of them. And also in his SCVs, as he's pretty much oversaturated on all his bases, which is good. Is a sign they should probably maybe expand to another base. Take the one up here, extend his advantage. The sensor tower though will let Cottonmouth know if anything's coming out the front. Maybe if he's going to go the sensor tower route, place one here. They don't cost much, and if I had sensor towers when I played, I'd be putting one everywhere around my base that would cover all kind of ins and outs. That's what I hate most, is drops from Terrans, and a sensor tower can let you know when anything is coming well in advance. Arnor here's got the shakes, decided to pull back all of a sudden. I'm not 100% sure why. Didn't even get to that tower, and he's decided to run away. Now he's coming back in again. Don't know if he was worried there's going to be a big force. Oh, he wanted to send his SCV in first to scout. As you do, the SCV is sacrificial. As he stood, there was nothing there anyway, so the scariness was not there, and the SCV gets to live another day. He needs to siege up these tanks though. This one's not even siege, it's just in position. These two are sieged nicely. Probably could be a bit further, particularly this one. But he might want to siege that one before this force comes in, but the sensor tower will let Arnor know when he's getting close, and he's looking at possibly dropping and doing an elevator trick into the front. Now at the moment he's in the medivac to give him some line of sight. He's going to start sieging the base of Cottonmouth here, taking out a few of the add-ons, which are always handy. Is he going to get this before Stim is finished? This is going to be devastating for Cottonmouth. He still hasn't got Stim, and it looks like he might even lose it now if he's not careful. Nope, he's unsieged the tanks. That's very, very lucky for Cottonmouth. He will end up getting Stim if he wants it. There's even a Thor here from Arnor, so he's turned into some kind of mass mix. It's not bio, it's not mech. It's like bio and double mech with both siege tanks and Thors. These Vikings now are becoming a target to Arnor's Vikings with support of the Marines to help. Cottonmouth's in some serious trouble here. He did manage to get Stim done though, which is handy, but he is suffering a lot of damage now to the corner of his base. No lift up from Arnor as of yet. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to lift a few Marines up, even into the corner here, out of range of that siege tank, which is now up and now moving into range of Arnor, and he's going to lose another siege tank. It's quite devastating for Cottonmouth. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Here comes the lift and drop, and here it comes now. A nice Stim from Cottonmouth. Helps deal with that drop, even though he's getting hit by tanks at the same time. That drop was slightly less effective due to the Stim. He is still running rampant in Cottonmouth's base. This is going to be one epic siege of the fortress, you could say, as Cottonmouth is under siege from a very, very large force from Arnor. Oh no, he's moved the Marines forward straight in the siege tank. He's going to Stim up to take it. He's suffering a lot of unnecessary losses when he could just hold the ground there for a lot longer. These siege tanks are doing heaps of damage, and he doesn't need to do this. Now these siege tanks are going to siege up and do even more damage to these. Oh no, Arnor! Those Marines and Marauders are melting under the siege tank fire. He should not have moved up there. He had the advantage position, he had the air control, and he's given it away now. He's pretty much lost all his bio, and it's just running on mech with slowly bio stimming in. But Cottonmouth has nothing to defend this. He's got a third command center up giving him some mules, but that's not going to help much. He's pulling SCVs now to repair his to repair the siege tanks as they try to take on this Thor. No, another one falls. The DPS from the Thor is just too much. I don't know if there was a fail auto repair there or what. Now he's attacking the Thor with his SCVs. The splash damage from the tank doing actually a fair bit of damage to that Thor. Now he's losing another barracks. This is not looking good at all for Cottonmouth. His whole base under siege. He's lost a lot of SCVs. Arnor is extremely, and he's actually retaliated with another drop of his own here, and has taken out the expansion and most of the SCVs of Arnor. We missed all that in the action. A drop from Cotton in return has caused a lot of damage and even destroyed the expansion of Arnor. So if he can eventually stem this off somehow, he'll be in alright shape. He's taken out more SCVs, but unfortunately there's a lot of tanks here, and they're just laying siege to Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth is turning into some kind of a base race, in which Cottonmouth has not got much to fight back with, but he's trying his hardest. He's lost his medivac though now. These Marines and Marauders are in damage. It wasn't the fact that they keep getting rallied past these Marines and Marauders, giving them some free hits. They would have been cleared up a lot sooner. I'm afraid this looks like the end for Cottonmouth. I'm sure he can't hold this. Oh! SCV's pulled to kill a tank. There's still a Thor. There's still 2 medivacs in his base, and that medivac's even carrying an extra Marine, and you know how strong Marines are. Another Marine misrallied in the middle of the base. He's lifted up the command center though, but unfortunately these Vikings are going to spot it that have just arrived, so that's not going to be very handy at all. So these Vikings now taking out this command center, which was going to float away for safety, but unfortunately won't happen now. Arnor's now trying to rebuild his expansion. Obviously, I think, yep, he's even going to take his third. He's got the minerals banked up to, well, he hasn't got the minerals banked up to do it. Cottonmouth does, but Arnor's carefully using that minerals to build a third now. I think he realises this game, it should be near its ending. Cottonmouth can't really come back from this. He's doing way too much damage. He's got to watch where he moves those medivacs too. Everything's just dying so quickly here. This medivac is helping so much. Got another siege tank coming in. He might be able to clear up the sword to help the siege tank and a couple of Marines. The Thor will fall, and he'll finally have cleared up this push from Arnor. This expansion ended up going down, which was handy. But now they're just both going to try and re-macro here. I actually bring up what units are left with both, because this is quite interesting. Units. Arnor only has 3 more SCVs, but he's not dropping any mules at the moment. He used to scan them, just to scan that there was an expansion there from Cottonmouth. So Cottonmouth used them to get mules, which will give him get more money to enable more production. But Arnor has the bigger force. Same amount of siege tanks, one Viking higher, but more Marines. And he has the infrastructure to keep doing that, to keep ahead in Marines, even while building the SCVs to build his base. Whereas Cottonmouth has not got the infrastructure. He's got to rebuild everything. I don't think he has any barracks left. So he's rebuilding barracks. No, he's got 1 barracks. So he's trying to produce as quick as he can out of 1 barracks while he's rebuilding more. He has still got 1 factory, but his infrastructure is massively down compared to Arnor. But his SCV count, even though it's lower, is higher with mules that he's using to actually incorporate this. The medivac, so will give Arnor the advantage. He's definitely got the advantage at the moment, Arnor. I said he's dropped some mules down now, which will definitely help him. More mules from Cotton as well. It's going to be a massive mule out, as this base is pretty much completely mined out. This is quite a patient little game now. They're both trying to re-macro a bit. Arnold's got the force, so if he pushed now, could win this. There's no reason to wait around. He's getting infantry armor 2 and weapons level 2 Cottonmouth. I'm not sure why. He needs to invest that in more troops to defend any kind of push. Understandably, if Arnold delays it too long, maybe it'll come in handy. But right now, he just needs to come out and push. This Marauder here is obviously the front guard for Arnold. Maybe save the day, maybe take out a Marine when he runs back into his bunker, but he's pretty much sacrificial there. We'll let him know when this push is coming from Cottonmouth, but it doesn't look like there will be, as they're both waiting. Now, Arnold's moving out with his forces. It's 0-0 on upgrades for his mech, and it's 2-2 for his infantry, so that's going to be quite powerful. Whereas Arnold, on the other hand, is running +1 with his mech, which will make those tanks quite deadly. And on his infantry, he's running 1-1, and he's getting 1-2 at the moment. But it probably won't arrive in time. Arnor's still in the impression though that there's a base in this, so there's going to be quite a surprise to Arnor. He's using a lot of his time, which will be pushing before these upgrades hit, taking out these rocks where there will be nothing behind these rocks. So that'll quite devastate Arnor when he gets in there and he finds there's absolutely no rocks whatsoever. Terran Infantry level 3 being researched by Arnor, so he's going to keep his bio pretty heavily upgraded here. I think the tanks are more just a support, a backbone. He hasn't invested in any upgrades in that, even though he got the armory. Obviously he used that to get Thors. If he hasn't restocked his Thors, and here he comes Arnor now realising that, oh, that base isn't actually there. He's now scanning, and he's realised that there's very little defence here at the moment, and it's probably quite pushable. Here comes the medivacs in first, which was a unwise move. He needs to make sure he doesn't get those medivacs caught out of position. He's now stepping forward with most of his units and A moving. He forgot about the high ground advantage though and didn't scout there. And unfortunately, that's been quite beneficial for a Cottonmouth. He's managed to take a lot of his Marines with that scout. There isn't much health left on those tanks, but unfortunately there's too much force here from Arnor still to cause damage. And I believe he will deny this base from Cottonmouth. He needs to lift up and get all that infrastructure out of there. Unless he's going to try and push back, he needs to get out of there. He's going to lose everything. Nope, he's going to go back and try and mine. Nope, he's lifting up. Cottonmouth's a bit panicky now. He's not sure what to do. He's got this tank siege to help, but Arnor's being cheeky now and even expanding out here now. He's dropped his SCV count has picked right back up. He's not getting any gas though at the moment. He's only mining off 1 gas, which is probably not the best. So it might be wise for him to bring get some more gas down. Otherwise, unless he wants to stick with just a Marine force, which will die because these tanks are heavily upgraded compared to the Marines. Compared to the tanks of his opponent. A quick stim there from Cottonmouth, unfortunately straight into tank range. The only thing surviving being the SCV, not the most important unit right now. Not what he wanted to survive. Arnor's force here though is terribly weakened, and a couple of tanks could move forward to take that out with some careful manoeuvring. SCV's now moving up to his 4th in a nice trail as we see across the map. Cottonmouth here is hanging on for dear life, but unfortunately he's going to be struggling to do much here. He has got that base up which he's muling, but even then it's a planetary and he hasn't got enough mules to keep this income going the way he likes. I mean, he's got the income, but he hasn't got the infrastructure to spend it as much as he's trying to spend it. And he is trying to spend it, and he's got SCVs doing nothing. He's dropping down supplies. He supply blocked himself at one point, which wasn't good, but he doesn't need supply depots. I'm not sure why he's dropping supply depots. He's not supply blocked. He's not going to be supply blocked anytime soon. He needs the units first to become supply blocked, and they're just not coming. Arnor, on the other hand, is slowly sending SCVs up now to take this base. He's slowed down his unit production as he gets his SCV count back up. He's got another factory coming. He's even getting Hellions out now to deal with the Marines from Cottonmouth. He's got Siege of the Natural, where he's not letting Cottonmouth move out at all. Cottonmouth needs to stop building supply depots and things that he's not using and just bulk out with some more production facilities. He's double reducing Vikings now, which will give him a hand against these medivacs. Probably take them out and give him more sight of what's going on out here, because there is a very low Marine count here. So these Vikings now going to step out. They're going to snipe out at least 1 medivac before he... Oh no, they didn't even get that 1 medivac. He's come back to get it. He still hasn't got it. Oh, he just wants to get that 1 medivac, which is now healing all those Marines again. The snail trail has begun from Arnor across the map. They head, as he has now rallied all his production units to the front of Cottonmouth's base, and I believe this would have to be the death push now. This Thor adds a bit of tanks a fair bit of damage from these tanks, soaks it up pretty well, even though it is unupgraded compared to now the +2 on the tanks. So Thor does fall, but did soak up a lot of damage and gave time for Arnor to back this up with even more Marines up in this mage force. And he's just getting more and more rallied here. Cottonmouth cannot move out of his base. Arnor hasn't scoured the fact that he has expanded over here, but it's not going to help him much when Arnor himself has also expanded now and has 3 fully running bases, even though this one's slowly mining out. He still hasn't dropped any more gas down, so obviously he's going to keep building a lot of Marines and not much else, as he can't invest too heavily in any factory base units or starport base units without gas. And he's just going to keep laying siege. He's now got the patient TVT chess match where they just lay siege together continually. One will move out a little bit further. Now Cottonmouth will siege, then he'll pick up another tank, then he'll siege, and vice versa from Arnor, who's now got siege and will move, and all. It'll just be the patience game now, as Arnor has just got this massive snail trail of units coming in. It's just a matter of waiting until he's got enough units so he can death push in, which shouldn't be too far away. Cottonmouth is running on his bare essentials now. He hasn't got much at all. This scan reveals that there isn't much. He has got the high ground advantage, but that's not going to matter for much at the moment. He has got +2, but again, that's not going to matter for much. Another push from Cotton here. He will manage to take out these tanks, which was a good move, but maybe he can move those Marines back now before he loses them. And he does manage to get those with he does suck those Marines up into range of the tank and does take away those ones there. Unfortunately now, another tank sieging up for Arnor, and this is just too many units, too many powerful. All these Marines are 3-3, and they're just going to stim through and carve up all these units. It looks like they may fall before they reach the tank up here, mainly due to the fact these Marines are blocking. Nope, they did get the tank there. It's now medivacs versus medivacs, healing as quick as possible. There was another tank hidden by Cotton, which did some even more damage. It's sitting back here. Somehow the Marines stimmed right past it, and they managed to survive because of that. But Cotton's got next to nothing. He's stacked down to 56 supply. He's going to get over about 70 supply all game. And it's been a struggle for him. Arnor, though, is mostly... hasn't got much units left at the moment. It's mostly just SCVs, but he has got the bases to just produce the units. He's got the minerals. They've both got massive amount of minerals and need to keep working on production of units and stuff. He's even got a barracks up on his 4th expansion here, where he's all rallied to the front of Arnor's base, Cottonmouth's base, where he's just going to start mass producing units. He has started dropping down a few more gases, which is what you need if you want to keep producing Thors and tanks and things along those lines. And needs to mine out of those. But as it stands, this force from Cottonmouth is going to fall. He's taking another tank. The death knell is sounding. I'm not sure how Cottonmouth is even still in this game. It's just that one hidden base there that if it got scouted would be the end of Cotton, because that's the only place where he's getting any minerals at the moment. He has got a lot bagged up though, but no production. The only problem is Arnor hasn't got the production yet to build enough units to do this death push he needs to do. One nice little micro session he could actually win this. He's even got enough here to do a lot of damage. As it stands, all Cotton's really got is a handful of Marines and one siege tank. He's slowed down his production on everything as it stands. He's got massive Marines queued up, but they're just queued up and they're going to take their time to come out. The Vikings here from Cotton as well, swooping around, making sure what's going on. Vehicle weapons 3 now being built for Cotton, plus Terran Infantry at 2, so he's looking at getting possible 2-2 from his Marines and 0-3 for his mech. Another base coming down from Arnor now, so he's just mass expanding now. There's nothing Cotton can do. I'm surprised that she's scared to find if Cotton's got an expansion somewhere hidden. A drop now. Cotton's now going for a drop by the looks of it. He's lifted up. Nope, he's dropping them back in the middle of his base. It's for defending his expansion. He's actually giving up on this base by the looks of it. He's starting to move all his units out of it. He's pushing out now. He wants to get rid of this little force here. This is a very little force from Arnor, and should probably fall back in order to not lose it. He needs to start getting more units together. Now he's got a nice little death push forming in the middle of the map. He's just left too many going in dribs and drabs, which unfortunately fed into Cottonmouth's height advantage, and the fact that he had that range from being on the high ground. Had Arnor been smart and got his group together a lot earlier, had the better production, the better units, maybe not the better composition, because the siege tanks were just higher count for Cottonmouth that whole time and had the high ground, but he had the better upgrades on his infantry, and he had the production and he had the units. He just let them in dribs and drabs, and they kept getting sniped off by Cottonmouth's forces. As it stands though now, the kind of force he's building up now, it's going to be hard to stop. One quick stim could be the end of this. As it stands though, Arnor's got expanding all over the map. He's now running on a total of, we're looking at 7 expansions. He's going to mine the map out and leave Cottonmouth in one little spot if he's not careful. Cottonmouth has nearly mined this out. It's about halfway through mined, but it doesn't matter. Cottonmouth's got the minerals, but he's just not producing enough quick enough. Maybe drop another barracks down. Maybe drop he's building nothing out of starport. He may as well use what he's got. He's got all these minerals and he's not using them, not trying to expand. He has managed to get rid of this force from Arnor, though, that was hiding in the corner of his base, thus securing his expansion again, thus enabling him to mine off it. But he hasn't got that many minerals left to mine on. Only about a quarter of his minerals left to mine, as the rest were mined out by SCVs earlier on. He will drop a mill down there, and he will look at trying to establish himself some kind of control back in this game. But he's so far behind. It's unfortunate, but he is. The supply there, just the supply itself shows it. He's easily about 50 supply. Most of that's in SCVs though. Cottonmouth has been scouting with the command center, which is quite weird and quite a new maneuver. We'll get hit by these Marines now though, and we'll die pretty quick with that. I'm not sure what he was going for. Obviously he was going for an expansion or something. Ended up finding out there was more than one expansion from Arnor, as he sends more SCVs to the back now. He stopped FCV production, which is handy now. He has more than enough with how many bases he got running, and plus mules. He'll be fine. He can even mill this one up when he wants. It's turn into a planetary. I'm surprised he didn't turn that one into a planet. Oh, he has. That's a planetary. Cottonmouth is just trapped and can't do anything. He's got his natural backup running, but there isn't that many minerals left to use on there. Again, I'm really surprised Arnor hasn't actually just come up here and seen that this exists at any point. A little push here from Cotton now. He's just seen the mass Marines that Arnor's got. He doesn't know what to do about it, to be honest. What can you do? He's now pushing up. He actually looks like he's going to check this base now. I'm not sure if he's scanned, but he's now noticing that there is a base up here. No, he's going to walk right past it, so he still doesn't notice the base. Oh, Arnor here was sieging the planetary here, which is a wise move. He's going to lose that tank now. But that was clever. He managed to do a bit of damage back. For anything, Cotton is really keeping the fight in there. He's not giving up without a fight, that's for sure. He's now also dropped in here and destroyed a lot of Arnor's SCVs. He needs to let that drop out and go though. He can't stay, his SCV is just going to rape his. They're 3-3, he's 2-2. As that drop's going to be done now, he did take out a lot of SCVs. The scouting command center gave him the information he needs to know that there was bases there. He doesn't quite know about this one yet, I don't believe, but he probably will soon. Another death push for him from Arnor here. This medivac unfortunately rallied bad. Cotton's tried to expand, but a scan's gone down to reveal the expansion. Arnor still hasn't noticed that there's an expansion up here that's been mining for so long. Surely you would have thought there would have been by the way that Cottonmouth has managed to stay into this game. He's now sieging up in defensive position at the front of his base. He hasn't got much though now. His total units, as we look at them, is down. He's down in half the SCVs. And as the pushing comes from Arnor, he's moved. Oh my god, Arnor! Stop! Now he had him all on move and he lost all those Marines because he had them on move position only. He has got a big enough force here though that this will still be cleaned up. There was a nice little mini victory there from Arnor, from Cotton there, getting all those Marines. But Arnor has now got battle cruisers out. Arnor has got battle cruisers out. The ultimate insult, he has now attacked 2 battle cruisers. Unupgraded battle cruisers, but battle cruisers. You know what siege tanks aren't good against? Battle cruisers. You know what Marines aren't that good against? Battle cruisers. And in they come. He's going to start taking out these units as quick as possible. Try and lure the Marines back up here. It's unfortunate here, but this is a death knell for Cotton seeing battle cruisers. That is not what you want to see. Any kind of vehicle upgrades on those battle cruisers would be very dangerous, but it stands though. We're going to head in now. I would love to see what these battle cruisers are going to do. Has he actually, he hasn't researched a auto cannon. Quite disappointing. Would love to see some auto cannon being used. He has still got this base which has not been scattered from Arnor, although it's just about mined out now. He did manage to get his minerals worth out of that one. Cotton's last of his army is situated here. He's got a Raven, but he hasn't got a Seeker missile, unfortunately. A bit devastated there. The Seeker missile would have been good to see against the battleships. He has got a lot of Vikings though, so that the battleships aren't that powerful at the moment against him. A combination of Vikings and Marines will prevent the battleships being too powerful. But here comes the push now from Arnor. He's scanned. He's seen what's there. One of the siege tanks isn't even sieged up. He's gonna push in now. The siege tanks aren't sieged up. He's got the battle cruisers lending support. These Vikings are gonna fall. This is a death knell for Cottonmouth. He's gonna try and hold off as quick as possible. But these battle cruisers do a lot of damage, even when it's just a freakish how much damage battle cruisers do. Now he's gonna push up the ramp with what he has. These battle cruisers will clean up the tanks that are up here, and they just carve through Marines as well. Vikings are the only thing they don't do well against, and the Viking count though is falling quickly to the Marines of Arnor. Arnor's coming in here, and it is a death knell for Cottonmouth. It is devastation, it is destruction, it is a rain of fire from battle cruisers and Thors. Somehow Arnor has managed to switch between mech, bio, mech this whole game into air force at the end. As it stands, he's lost most of that force that he was attacking with, but he has another force just as strong sitting in the middle of the map with Marines. But these last force here should be enough to take out a Cottonmouth. He just can't produce anything quick enough. He's got the minerals, but what can he can't produce enough quick enough. And he's going to lose another barracks now. He's taken out the tech lab, so he can't produce any more siege tanks. This Thor may eventually fall, but it'll fall after it's done its damage. Here comes that other push from Arnor. Here comes all those Marines he's had massing in the middle of the map. That'll help clean up whatever's left. Thor did fall in the end, but there's just nothing left from Cottonmouth. He's on 43 supply to 174. It's just devastation here. These Marines are just going to carve everything up. It's going to have to be GG, surely, from Cottonmouth now. He fought valiantly. He held on. He didn't go down without a fight. He didn't let Arnor walk all over him. But unfortunately now, even with that siege tank on the high ground doing damage it's doing, there's just nothing. There's just going to be nothing left. A stim up to take out that siege tank, and as the siege tank falls, it's just GG from Cottonmouth and GG from Arnor. I mean, very long game. Was a very long game to cast. I admit, not my best casting either. Cottonmouth finally left the game. He never ended up mining out this expansion and never got scattered from Arnor. And Arnor in the end held 8 bases, I believe. No, 7 bases Arnor held in the end, including both the ones in the middle. And he had 4 battle cruisers out at one point, with 2 more out as well. So that was a very long TVT matchup. Cottonmouth held on hard and strong and didn't let it die, but unfortunately in the end he fell. So that's GG. That's QED DeNile, and I'm out.